There are 4 habits that will shut down God's blessings in your life faster than anything else. And if you don't stop them before it's too late, you'll find yourself in the same position as the Israelites, wandering in circles, wondering why God feels distant. The scary part? Most Christians are doing at least 2 of these right now without even knowing it. But here's what's really concerning. These habits don't feel wrong when you're doing them. They feel normal. They feel justified. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. Today we'll uncover 4 dangerous habits that stir God's anger. And as we go through them, ask yourself, have I been guilty of any of these? Number 1, complaining instead of trusting. The first habit that makes God angry is constant complaining. Not just about big things, but about everything. Your job, your relationships, your circumstances. Sound harmless? Tell that to the Israelites. Numbers 11:1 says, "When the people complained, it displeased the Lord. For the Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused." Notice it doesn't say when they sinned or when they worshipped idols. It says when they complained. Here's why this matters. Complaining is actually a declaration that God isn't good enough. Every complaint is basically saying, "God, you messed up. I could run my life better than you." That's not just negativity. That's pride disguised as frustration. You might be thinking, but I have real problems. Of course you do. But there's a difference between bringing your concerns to God and constantly grumbling about what He's allowed in your life. The Israelites had real problems too, but their complaining turned a short journey into decades of delay. Number 2, taking credit for God's blessings. The second habit is pride in your achievements. When things go well, you forget who gave you the ability, the opportunity, and the strength to succeed. Deuteronomy 8, verses 17 to 18 warns us, "You may say to yourself, 'My power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me.' But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." This habit is sneaky because it feels like confidence. You work hard, you see results, and you naturally think, "I did that." But that's exactly what made God angry with King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel 4 tells us that God literally drove him insane until he acknowledged that all his power came from heaven. When you take credit for God's blessings, you're essentially pushing him out of your success story. And here's what happens next. He stops blessing what you're trying to take credit for. Number 3, ignoring people in need. The third habit that makes God furious is becoming so focused on your own life that you stop seeing people who need help. Remember what Jesus said would happen to those who ignore the needy? Matthew chapter 25, verses 41 to 42. "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink." But here's the thing. This isn't just about money. It's about becoming so self-absorbed that you stop noticing when people around you are struggling. Your coworker who's going through a divorce, your neighbor who just lost a job, the person at church who always sits alone. This habit develops slowly. You get busy with your own problems, your own goals, your own plans. Before you know it, you're living like the people around you don't matter. That's exactly what happened to Sodom, according to Ezekiel 16:49. They became arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned about others. Number 4, making excuses instead of obeying. The fourth and most dangerous habit is rationalization. When God asks you to do something, you find reasons why it doesn't apply to you or why you can't do it right now. King Saul lost his kingdom because of this habit. When God told him to completely destroy the Amalekites, Saul decided to keep the best livestock for sacrificing to the Lord. Sounds spiritual, right? But 1 Samuel 15:22 says, "To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams." You might not realize you're doing this, but every time you know what God wants and you find reasons to delay or modify His instructions, you're following Saul's pattern. Maybe God's been telling you to forgive someone, but you're waiting for them to apologize first. Maybe He's calling you to be more generous, but you're waiting until you have enough money. Here's what's terrifying about this habit. It feels wise. It feels responsible. You're not rejecting God, you're just being practical. But that's exactly what makes it so deadly. Partial obedience is still disobedience. Notice something about all 4 habits? They don't feel like rebellion, they feel justified. Complaining feels like venting. Taking credit feels like confidence. Ignoring others feels like focusing. Making excuses feels like wisdom. But here's what happens when these habits take root. God starts to distance himself, not because he doesn't love you, but because these patterns make it impossible for him to bless you the way he wants to. Think about it. How can God trust you with more if you complain about what you already have? How can he bless your efforts if you take all the credit? How can he use you to help others if you don't even see them? How can he guide your life if you rationalize away his clear instructions? This is why the Israelites wandered for 40 years. This is why some believers feel stuck in the same struggles year after year. These habits create a ceiling on God's blessings in your life. But here's the hope that changes everything. God's anger isn't permanent, it's corrective. He's not trying to destroy you, he's trying to destroy what's destroying you. The moment you recognize these patterns and start changing them, his blessings start flowing again. Your breakthrough is on the other side of breaking these habits. Don't let another day pass living beneath God's best for your life. The choice is yours, but choose quickly, because tomorrow might be too late. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 4 habits do you need to break in your life? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this warning.